I mentioned that the large corporations and the entrepreneurs are two of the stakeholders. I should probably tell you about all five. In the MIT model that we teach here on campus and in a global program called REAP, we have five stakeholders. Traditionally in this field, people used to talk about public-private partnerships, so government and corporations. And then they added the university to create the so-called triple helix. Here at MIT, we feel that's no longer adequate for technological innovation in the 21st century. And so we add two other stakeholders alongside government, corporates, and universities, and that's the entrepreneurs themselves and the risk capital providers. Because they are not from an incumbent enterprise. The entrepreneurs will see the world differently, and in some ways they're more able to adapt to how customers want their problems to be solved. And so there's much to learn from these entrepreneurs, but also the risk capital providers. And here at MIT, we include venture capitalists, the sort of traditional Silicon Valley 10-year closed fund, but there's many more forms of risk capital across that spectrum. All the way from friends and family who often fund the entrepreneurs at the beginning, through serial entrepreneurs, angel investors, syndicates. Corporates can put money on the table through ventures, joint ventures. Universities can make grants and prize competitions, and even government plays a role in providing this. And we think that only when you have all five stakeholders together from a particular region are you going to truly understand what's going to make that innovation ecosystem work most effectively. We teach a lot here in Boston, which I think you can see over my shoulder here, and there are some wonderful examples here of some traditional Boston companies, large corporations, that have found a way to work with the local startups and get more entrepreneurial outcomes. It has ended up being a win-win, not only for the large corporations and the startups, but also for the Boston innovation ecosystem. And that's one of the great things about teaching here at MIT is we have this living laboratory right outside of our windows where we can demonstrate how corporations have added value by working with the startups. And it's one of the reasons we have so many startups succeeding here is because the corporations have got used to working with them within that wider ecosystem. So I mentioned the ecosystem approach, and this is very important to the way we teach about innovation here at MIT. So we're in the greater Boston ecosystem. We see the five stakeholders playing their roles here, but we also realize that ecosystems are very place specific. So there's a real element of regionality to what we do. So we teach about this Boston ecosystem, but we've also worked with over 50 regions around the world with the same set of stakeholders in very different places, from Lima in Peru, to Louisville, Kentucky, to Lagos, Nigeria, and London. And it's really interesting. You see the same five stakeholders. They run into very similar sorts of issues, but also there are very regional distinctions. There is a difference as to whether you're working with a large city or a more rural area, if you're working in an advanced OECD economy or in an emerging market economy. And so what I love about the MIT approach to regional ecosystems and stakeholders is it flexes, and then we get to work with each region about what's going to be specific so that they can improve the innovation in their place.